Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I want to show you how to make these solid granny squares. They can be used for pretty much whatever you want. You can make them in any type of yarn you like, with any hook size you like. For every kind of project where you would normally use a granny square, like making a coaster or putting them together and doing a blanket, you can use these solid granny squares instead. They look very nice and they are a lot more dense than the traditional granny squares. Let's start by having a look at the pattern. So here's a picture of the pattern that we will be using. As you can see, we start the same way that as we do a normal granny square. So we'll make a ring. Either you can do a magic ring or you can chain 3, 4, or 5 and put them together and create a ring. We're going to chain 3, add 2 double crochets, chain 2 for a corner, 3 double crochets, 2 for a corner, and so on until we have a total of 4 corners and 4 clusters of 3 double crochets. And we're going to slip stitch into that top chain from the beginning of the round, and we're done with the first round. From there on, we will do, in this video, chain 3 to get to the next row, and move on like that, and I will show you when we do the tutorial. There are other ways you can move into the next round, and I will mention that as we go along. So before we move into the tutorial, I want to show you this overview. If you are in doubt at any point about how many double crochets you need for a particular round, this will tell you exactly how many. So you always have 4 sides, and we have the round out to the left, and you can see we are adding 4 double crochets to each round. So that means we are adding 16 double crochets when we move from one round to the next. If you like to count your sides, which I do because I don't want to wait until the very end to figure out if I made a mistake, you can always do the counting and look at this overview to see how many you need to have. Let's move into the tutorial. So let's start by doing our foundation chain. Do a magic ring if you want to, but I am chaining 4 and connecting them, because in that way we can weave in the end on the very first round. So chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. Go down to the first chain, insert your hook, grab the yarn and pull it through. That creates a nice little ring. And we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Go back into the ring, add 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. Chain 2 to create a corner, and go back into the ring and add a cluster of 3 double crochets. As you can see, this is the same way you can start a normal granny square. So these are exactly the same things. And we're going to do a total of 4 corners and 4 clusters. So that was 2 clusters. Let's create a corner, chain 2, back into the ring and create our cluster. So that was 2 double crochets. Let's do the third one. Then we're going to chain 2 to add our third corner, and then our last cluster of 3 double crochets into the ring. And as you can see, I took the yarn end. I'm holding the yarn end on the back of the work and working it in as I am doing my double crochets. So after this round is done, you can just go ahead and snip that off so it doesn't get in the way. So we're almost done. Just need the last corner. So chain 2, 1, and 2, and then we're going to find that third chain from the beginning. It's up here. So you go in, pull the yarn through and through the loop on your hook, and you have a slip stitch. So this was our foundation round, or round number 1. So let's move into round number 2. I just snipped off the little tail on the back so it doesn't get in the way. We'll start by chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go in on the top stitch of our double crochet from the previous round. So add a double crochet, and the same goes for the next one. So we'll start by having 3 double crochets. And we are going to have a total of 7 double crochets on each side. So when we get back over here, we'll add 2, 1 in this corner. So we're also going to add 2 in this corner. And for every corner, you're going to put in 2 double crochets, chain 2 to create a new corner, and add 2 double crochets. So that was the first 2 double crochets, chain 2, go back into the ring or the chain space, and do 2 double crochets. So that's the same for each corner. And again, we have 3 double crochets from the previous round, so we're going to work in those 3 top stitches. Be aware that when you're coming out of the corner, the first double crochet stitch that you're going to double crochet in is hiding a little bit, so just make sure you don't miss that one. Again, always do the counting if you are ever in doubt about where you're at in your project and if you are doing it right. So now we have 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So into the corner, add 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, back into the corner and add 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and we have our 3 top stitches. Again, this first one is hiding a little bit, so 1 and 2 and 3, and then again we have a corner, so add 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1, 2, add 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Again, 3 stitches, so go in on the top and add a double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and then the corner, the last one, so 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1, 2, add 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then we can count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have all 7 stitches. Go into that top chain on the chain 3 that you made in the beginning and slip stitch. And that is the end of round 2. So you can just continue and make as many rounds as you would like. The only thing that can be a little bit tricky is when you get started on a new round. So where exactly are you going to go in? But you can always do the counting. So for this next round, we know we're going to have, we had 7 on the previous one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we know we're going to add 4, so we're going to get a total of 11. So we can always count if we want to. So we'll add 2 here and 2 here. So that's 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then our chain 3. So that is 11. So that is a good way of remembering. Just let's do the chain 3 for this third round. Just remember that the first stitch is a little twisted somehow, so just make sure you use the right one and you just go in, and that is actually, I think, the only one that can cause a little bit of issues in the beginning, especially if you're new to crocheting. So this was the first method, and I believe this is the easiest one. You will get your chain threes built up on top of each other, and some people don't like that. So there are other ways you can do this. You just fit, round one is the same for all of them. And you finish it by slip stitching on that top chain three. And you go ahead and you slip stitch into the next stitch. So one, and do it one more time. Two, and you do it a third time into the ring. So three, and then you start your chain three in the corner like that. So chain three, add a double crochet, chain two, because we are in a corner, and add 2 double crochets. This is exactly the same way, the pattern is the same way as we did before, but now you're starting out here. Let me just do the round and I'll show you how to finish it off and what that looks like. So now I'm almost done with this round two, and again we don't have our chain three out here where it would normally sit, it's up here. So we're going to get over there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, and we're going to have a total of 7. So we're going to add 3 double crochets in here, but we are now crocheting in slip stitches. And slip stitches are a lot more tight than the top stitch from a double crochet. So be aware of that. They're pretty easy to recognize. They look the same, but they are a lot tighter. So it makes it a little more difficult. So now we have 6, and this one is our last one. And that was not too hard. Now we have a total of 7 double crochets, and we go in and we slip stitch on that top chain. And now we're closer to the corner than we were before, so we just slip stitch in that first stitch, don't make it too tight, and then slip stitch once into the corner, and then here we go again. You can just continue like that. So that is a different method that you might prefer. I have a third method I want to show you. So we just finished off round one, slip stitch in the top of the chain three, and now we're going to turn our work, slip stitch twice in our corner. So 1 and 2. Then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Add a double crochet next to that one. And now we have made half of our corner, and we'll finish the corner when we get back. So just go ahead and you do what you've been doing on the previous rounds and with the other methods. 1 double crochet in each top stitch and 2 in the corner, chain 2 and 2 double crochets. So I'll meet you back when this round is about to end. So I just finished the third corner, and we're going to add 3 double crochets in these top stitches. So let's go ahead and do that. They should be fairly easy to find, and there shouldn't be any issues because we don't have any slip stitches here. This last one can be a little difficult to find, but it's up here. You'll get the hang of it. And then we're going into the corner, and it looks a little weird because we have our slip stitches here, but just go ahead and treat them as a part of the corner and crochet over them. That will hide them away very nicely. So 2 double crochets. We did 2 double crochets in the beginning, so just going to chain 2, 1, 2, slip stitch in that top chain, and that completes our round. So I like this method a lot because it's fairly easy to make. You don't have to work in your slip stitches, which I find a bit difficult sometimes. And another really great thing about this is if you're always crocheting in a spiral, you tend to have a lean. So the project will tilt a little bit to one side because you're always pulling in that direction. When you do it like this and you flip it, you pull in one direction and then in the other. So it will make the granny square, the solid granny square, look more even. But there is a catch to it. You will get something like this. I don't know if you can see it, but there's kind of a little bit of a height difference when you turn your work. And that is because now you no longer have a front and a back side. And that will keep happening for each round. But I find that solid granny squares can actually be a little bit boring if you do not have any color changes. So if you're doing them plain, I actually think it creates this, it adds a little bit of edge to them, and I think they become more interesting to look at. So this is by far my favorite method to use when I'm not using the chain 3 up here and just building upon them. So a fourth method you could use is that after you finished your round, you will fasten off, cut off your yarn, pick a new corner, let's say the opposite one, and then you attach your yarn over here with a knot, chain 3, do a double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and work your way around. And when you're done with the second round, you fasten off again and you move into a new corner and start. In that way, all of your chain 3s will sit in different places. You can also use, you don't have to use the corners, you can also use the sides, especially when you have more rounds. The only thing I will say though is that you will have a lot of yarn ends to weave in. But if you're a little smart about it, you start in the opposite corner for the first couple of rounds, and then you have two sides where you can weave in your yarn tail. Your new yarn tail and the one you just snipped off. And then after that, you should have enough working space to weave in your ends as you go. So I have made some samples here where I used the different methods. So this is method number 1, where we used our chain 3 for each round. And yes, they are building upon each other and they're stacking up. And for some people, they don't like that look. I don't really mind it, and I think it depends a lot on your project and your type of yarn. So the big pros here is that it's really easy and it's a fast way of doing it. But the cons will be that you do get these chain 3s. The second method, the one where we slip stitched into the corner and then did our chain 3 in the corner. Yes, the chain 3 is a lot better hidden now, and a lot of people like that. But you have to work in the slip stitches. And for me, that's a big hassle. I don't want to do that. I don't really like that. So method number 2 is definitely not for me, but it might be for you. So you can go out and test that if you want to. This method number 3, where we turned our work after we had finished the round and then we did 2 slip stitches into the corner. This is my favorite because I think it's also very fast and easy, and we're not working in the slip stitches, we're just crocheting over them. I like that. We do avoid the lean, or the lean gets a little less because we're changing for each round. So that is nice too. And we do get the structure. And I think for some people, the structure will be a con. They don't want that. And then of course, this method is not for you. But I think for one colored solid granny squares, structure is really nice. It gives a little something to the project. So this is definitely my favorite one. Number 4, I fastened off and cut off the yarn after each round and then started in a new place. This is also nice if you want the flat and smooth structure and you want to hide your chain 3s. They're becoming very difficult to find. But you have to be good at weaving in ends as you go, otherwise you'll end up with a lot of yarn tails. And I personally, I don't like that. I would love to hear what your favorite method is. And again, I know there's a lot more methods out there. You can also tell me about those ones if you want to, if you have one that's a lot neater than the ones I'm using. But otherwise, I would love to hear which one is your favorite and why. I think that would be very interesting. So there's much more to solid granny squares than just those normal plain ones. I will be making a few more videos about this subject. So I'll be making one where I show you how to do color changes. And I have a little surprise for you in that video. We won't just be doing color changes for each round. We'll also do color changes within the rounds. So I'm very excited about that. I also have a video coming where I'll show you how to make also solid granny square, but where we do something a little different in the corners. So you can see here, we don't have the gaps. So that is also a very neat kind of project. I will also be showing you how to join your granny squares for all the projects you might want to do. So that was all for today. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.